Hey guys, so a big leak happened today. I think it was this morning because it popped up on the Reddit, right on the Nintendo Switch Reddit. And it's basically outlining a manufacturer, basically someone helping to put the systems together, the switches together, in China, in one of the warehouses, one of the manufacturing plants. And they've basically at this point documented their experiences with the system and what they've seen while they were either putting the system together or actually running it for tests, which is pretty interesting. Now, this is just a rumor. It could be by somebody making everything up. However, everything had to be translated from Chinese, which makes sense because it's in a Chinese manufacturing plant, obviously. And it's interesting. Let me put this up here so I can kind of take a look at it. It's interesting because it's so specific. Like, there are so many fine details in here that you would not put in a leak that's not true. You wouldn't spend this much time writing something like this out unless it had some kind of foundation or you just had a ton of time, because you would have had to write it out if you were someone in the States doing it, probably translate it to Chinese and then slap it up somewhere where somebody can find it. Now, there are some translation errors in the text. I'll actually put the link to this Reddit post in the description for you guys so you can check it out. But there do appear to be a few minor translation issues, which I'll kind of address. But me going through all of this is going to take a long time, so I'm actually going to break this up into a couple videos as I have a chance to read through and document and take notes and everything and make sure I have everything to where I want it to be when I tell you guys. So, but I wanted to point out two big things that really stuck out to me. I think I may have underestimated Nvidia's ability to put a ridiculous GPU in a small area, because there are a lot of things in the console portion of this leak that stick out to me as not being a normal like Tegra or X1 chip. There's something going on here, and I wanted to point this out to you guys, like I said. But real quick looking at it, the first thing that jumped out to me right away is that the screen, the tablet screen, is supposedly, by what this person saying, 1080p, which is higher than what I originally thought at 720. I was almost positive this GPU would not be able to push the pixels at 1080p on the go. I just thought that wouldn't be possible, and I thought it wouldn't make sense for a Nintendo to do it that way. I was almost positive 720p screen was coming in, but according to this person, it looks to be a 1080p multi-touch screen, which is much higher than I originally thought. Then the other big thing they're talking about here is the heatsink, and I could see the pipes through the vent, and there is a vent. More than likely there is active cooling in there. For some reason I didn't read anything about active cooling in here, but they do talk about seeing the pipe, and it's a 12 centimeter L-shaped pipe. And that means this thing, the heatsink for this, the pipe that goes from where the chip is to where it has to cool, is almost half a foot. And that's something you would only find really in a laptop. Like, that's a big heat pipe they're talking about here. That's a really big heat pipe for an ARM chip. Now, I can tell you now, it's probably not for that ARM chip. It's more than likely for that GPU, because that GPU is going to be powerful just reading what I'm seeing here. And a little further down, they say something about a 10 by 10 core. I'm not really sure what they're trying to say there. I don't know if they're trying to say like a 20 nanometer core. So I have no idea what they're trying to say with a 10 by 10 core, because it's not like a 10 core processor. It should be like an 8, because the CPU has big little configuration. But the CPU, apparently, from what they're saying, so what's happening here is they are, at this point, they're benchmarking the system, testing it, essentially, for a while. You gotta let it run for a while. In fact, apparently they're letting it run for 8 days to see if it's working. And so going down from there, the CPU is running at 1.785 gigahertz. That's pretty strong for a mobile CPU in this case, because they can't push a ton of power through this. Remember that, because if it's going to run on battery, they have to have a way around that. And also, if it is using what they think it is, which is the newer A73 chip from Snapdragon, it's more efficient at lower clock rates. So it's fine if it's a 1.785 gigahertz processor. Keep in mind, the Xbox One and the PS4 also don't run at high frequencies either. So that's perfectly fine. The GPU is actually running to around what an X1 chip is running. This is running at 921 megahertz is what he's saying on his screen. This is where it gets a little weird. The EMC, I assume he's talking about the RAM speed. That's my assumption here with EMC 1600 megahertz. That would put the RAM more than likely at either a very low speed DDR4 or a very high-speed DDR3. I'm not really sure where that unfortunately that's right on the borderline of the two speeds. So that actually kind of makes it a little difficult, but it's speculated that it is an ARM A73 chip, which is the newest chip from Snapdragon. Again, it appears that Nintendo is not using old stuff here. They're using like the newest stuff you can get a hold of, and it is using a Pascal chip, and it is said here to be much more powerful than the X1, which is amazing. I was almost positive it would be right around the X1, maybe slightly more powerful. They're saying it's much more powerful than the X1. And going down from there, they do talk about USB-C charging, which is great. We pretty much had that figured out and down. That's awesome. And so they've been testing it, and they're saying the heat and the fan, okay, the fan noise is not loud, so it is actively cooled. That's great. And the heat is not bad at all, which is to be expected from an ARM chip and a Tegra processor. We expect the heat not to be tremendous. But another thing that caught my eye going down is that there is a 4G system confirmed. So we're going to have a system that has 4G capability. So you would be able to connect to a cell phone tower and either download stuff or update scores or even play against each other, although that might be hard because you do have that wireless lag to the network and then back. But more than likely you'll be able to go on there, download updates on the go, which is crazy. I did not see, I don't think anybody saw 4G coming. And I'm going to touch on that in another video because that just kind of caught me off guard when I was reading down this. I didn't even have that in my mind. I did not think Nintendo would even try it. But this is insane. But going down from there, the battery is 4,310 milliamp. That might be on the small side. However, I still don't know how, I want to say, it could be more efficient, okay? Maybe it doesn't have that big power draw. Maybe it pulls 1,000 milliamps an hour at load, and then you get 4 to 4.5 hours of battery. That's acceptable in my eyes. That's acceptable. Over 4 is fine. And like I said, going down from there, they do talk about a benchmark program that they are running. Okay, they're running a benchmark program to make sure that this is okay. And they've apparently been running it for days and days, like 8 days or something like that plugged in, and it does not drop a frame. It rolls along fine, and they're talking about a benchmark with millions of fish, and it got me thinking, which benchmark used that? I remember seeing it at one point, and I couldn't put my finger on it, and then after thinking about it for a while, I figured it out. It's the Unity benchmark program that is used just to kind of show off Unity, but it's also very taxing on the system. You need a pretty decent system to run this at an acceptable frame rate. And I'll put it up here so you can see it, but it's basically, as you see, it's just like a school of fish swimming around, and obviously the GPU is drawing all those, and the CPU is dealing with all the little physics and stuff happening. And supposedly, by what this person's saying, if it is that one, this system is way more powerful than I originally thought. I was almost positive it was going to come out and be maybe half of the Xbox One, maybe a little less than that. If it's running that benchmark at a decent frame rate, and the CPU is correct and the GPU is correct, this might be very, very close to the Xbox One, which is very hard to believe for me. That's why this is all rumor, guys. This is not at all confirmed. But based on that, I wouldn't be shocked if this system came out and you had a hard time seeing the difference between this system and an Xbox One. And that's amazing. That is really, really hard for me to believe in this case because this is packed into a tablet system, essentially. It's a tablet that happens to have video out. The dock, apparently, according to this, is also going to provide nothing. It's basically a piece of plastic. And I am honestly shocked right now if this is the case because at that point, Nintendo could eventually create a system with Nvidia that could rival like the PS4 Pro even. At this rate, I mean, how fast this technology moves and how much money they have to spend on it with R&D if these systems are selling is, I mean, the sky's the limit with this architecture. I mean, this could be the future of gaming consoles, guys. This is it right here. I mean, yes, x86 can pull a lot of power, but if these systems catch up to those systems, why are we pulling all the power through an x86 chip when a Tegra and an ARM chip can do the same thing? So I am shocked. I want to see this January presser, and I want to see what kind of power they're pushing through this. Because based on these people building these systems, this is surprising. This is very surprising. I am honestly shocked right now if this is the case. So I'm going to go through the rest of this. There's a lot more information in this post, so keep an eye out. I'll probably label it as like, this is like part 1, part 2, part 3. I could probably get 3 parts out of this just because I don't want to make this thing an hour long and then you guys got to sit through it to see things. I'll label it as, you know, like Joy-Cons, production, connectivity, dock, all that stuff, so you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to get into when you watch the video. But guys, now I'm really excited, and I know you're excited because this is ridiculous. This is really ridiculous. So feel free, I'm going to leave the link in the description. Feel free to read through it for yourself, and then I'll do some stuff where I go through it and read it, and we kind of figure some things out. I'm going to really look into this. We're going to do some serious research here. So, and guys, TechWave is coming. I'm going to try to have it done for you on Thanksgiving so you can hang out and watch while you're watching football or waiting for food. But definitely, if you have a chance, definitely donate to TechWave. The card is up here. It's in the beginning probably, so jump back to the beginning and check the card out and donate $1 or whatever to TechWave so we can get some more cool stuff. So, but guys, I'm excited. I know you are. Check out my other videos. We'll talk about the other stuff, and I will see you then.